Did you know that Australian football is not the only sport that was created in Melbourne? No. Have you heard of Trugo? I've not, so yeah, let's find out about it. Enjoy the video. That is an awkward position, isn't it?
The rules of Trugo are quite simple. The object is to hit a rubber ring using a mallet and get it through a set of goalposts which are at the other end of a piece of grass. You get 1 point for getting a goal, you get 0 points for not getting a goal. If you hit the post, you don't get any score. It's not like AFL where you get a part score. And a competitive game consists of teams of 8 players that play against each other.
This is on a side note. Now, I know in Australia there is a fly problem. Okay, when I did the 2005 Australian World Cup qualifying video, there was plenty of times when the guy being interviewed had flies land on him and he didn't notice. We've got another time. Is your fly problem so bad in Australia that the locals just don't even flinch at them anymore? It's just a little side note.
Each player has 24 shots. So first 4 players from one team will play and 4 players from the other team will play from the other end. They'll have all their games and then they'll move away and then the other 4 players will come in and finish off.
It's like croquet, but backwards and a big goal. And this is really simplistic. This is almost something that, would be invented in the playground. So simplistic, but actually I'm sure it's not quite as easy as it looks.
Trugo was invented by railway workers in the Newport railway workshops back in the 1920s. It began as a game that was improvised by the workers using objects they had around their work site. So the rubber rings were components that went into a train suspension. The mallets were the workmen's mallets. And originally the game was played inside empty train carriages that the workers were building.
I really love finding out about the origins of different sports, and here is, it makes complete sense. They had some free time. What do you have about? They have a mallet and they have a rubber ring. We're using a train carriage. It makes complete sense. It was probably easier back then than it is now if it's played on grass. Pixie wants to join us. Come on then, Pix. Sorry for the disturbance. She's been a little bit needy recently. So it makes complete sense how it was started. Because, like I said, when we were in the school playground, now obviously over here, football is the main thing, soccer. And I remember there, in our secondary school, there used to be sort of like a 5 metre by 10 metre sort of area that was indented into the ground. And we used to play with a tennis ball, or if we got really desperate, we used to play with a water bottle. And it's basically who can keep the ball for the longest. So sort of these sports are brought out of, not necessity, I don't know if that's the right word, but what you've got lying around.
Mid-1930s, the game moved outside of the workshops and started actually being played in parks, first in Yarraville, then in Footscray, and it spread to other mainly working class suburbs through inner Melbourne. The name Trugo.
It definitely seems like a working class. I know a lot of you guys that watch my videos have said, no, in Australia there aren't classes, but I'm not sure if that's technically true. But it makes sense that it would be for the working class because it's like we've said, it's the sport has been brought out of what you've got lying around in a work environment.
Trugo comes from literally the words true go, which back in the 1920s that was kind of a lingo. So if someone got a goal, that was a true go, and that just got shortened to one word, Trugo.
So simplistic, but actually I bet it's good fun.
Trugo has generally been played by an older cohort of people.
This is reminding me of bowls now. the sport I love.
There actually used to be a rule in the Trugo League that you had to be above 60 years old to play. That rule was changed a little while ago when the numbers of players was dwindling and clubs started to embrace some younger players coming through. Many clubs are still predominantly people who are in an older age bracket, retirees for example. Our club though, Footscray, and a couple of the other clubs, Brunswick in particular, have started to attract a younger group of people, so people sort of in their late 20s, 30s, 40s.
This is reminding me so much of bowls. You know, it was old-fashioned, you know, it had rules, and now things are lightening up and younger people are playing. It seems so similar.
And now our club, for example, we're all made up of people. I don't think any of us are retired actually, we all work full time.
I suppose like any sport, it's social, isn't it? And that's probably the main thing. It's just rather nice. And I say it's not too taxing. You're not out in the sun for 4 or 5 hours like you would be with bowling.
All right, see, they've already they mention it as well.
And you can still play when you're a bit infirm. That's
Playing Trugo, mate.
Oh, right, okay.
Now.
Back to it.
Stop
It's a
talking.
nice way to spend an afternoon. Pretty relaxing. There's always snacks afterwards. We try and have a barbecue or pizza, or the other clubs will do sandwiches and party pies. So
Party pies. You Australians are brilliant.
you know, it's a nice way to spend an easygoing afternoon with people in the community you don't normally get to hang out with.
And that, I'll tell you what, that is another really interesting point. And I'm going to relate it back to bowls because that's what I know. Sometimes it's so wonderful to be spending time with an older generation as we're a younger generation, because they've got more life experience. They've got stories to tell, for example. Whereas if you always spend time with your people your own age, they don't necessarily have the stories. You know it all. You've been there and you've done it yourself. Whereas the older generation actually can be interesting. All right, some don't stop talking, some waffle on, but a lot of them have great stories to tell, have the experience to give as well. And by the sounds of it, this is very similar. There we go. The sport of Trugo. Basically, backwards croquet, hitting a rubber ring with a mallet through a goalposts. It looks like good fun. Have any of you played it? Have any of you seen Trugo greens? I don't know if they're called greens, but any Trugo clubs? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.